Howdy y'all, it's Curious Raven, here with you with some haunted house stories today. I hope everyone has been doing good. I've been struggling a little bit. That's why I haven't really been on a schedule with my videos, trying to find a good routine again. But let's get into the stories. Number 1. For some backstory on my house, the previous tenant lived here all his life with his mother. The guy lived here about 50 years. To my knowledge, his mother was very ill and sadly passed away due to an illness. I moved into this house at the beginning of October of 2023, and everything was fine at first. It's larger than my old home, which gives a lot more space for the dog. She's a big Old English bulldog, so the space was definitely appreciated, and also a lot more storage space. I'm not a medium, but I'm definitely tapped into my senses, and ever since I moved in this house, I have pictured an at-home hospital bed, all the wires, machines, and stuff attached to an older woman, probably around her early 70s, in what is currently my dining room. This woman has short, gray curly hair, wrinkles, glasses, a purple shirt, blue eyes, and a pale complexion. Around late November was when things started happening. Most incidents stemming from the dining room. They say that dogs can see what we can't, and I truly believe that. In the first incident, my dog walked into the living room and into the dining room looking up as if she were following someone, and then sat wagging her tail as if there was someone in front of her. The second incident came around early January, when she was staring into the dining room, wagging her tail as if someone was in there. This has happened at least 5 times. She has also been sat at a chair in a dining room and gave call to the air. Around 2 weeks ago, things moved away from just the dog. All the TVs in the house will randomly turn on in the middle of the night if nobody is near a remote. Last night, I went to use the restroom and didn't lock the door because I saw no point. I was on my phone when I heard a click, so I looked up and the door was now locked. Just now, I was laid in bed drifting off to sleep, but I was disturbed by 4 knocks on my ceiling. Not sure if I'm going insane or what, but I definitely feel as if there is something happening here. Number 2. Please, I cannot sleep. I'm hearing noises constantly, knocking, banging. My doors knocking. Yesterday I was sleeping and then suddenly my door was banging, kind of like the police were there. So I got up in a panic, went to my door, and no one was there. And no one could have been pranking me because it was happening till I stepped close to the door. And there's no way someone could have ran that fast, since my apartment is in the middle of the hallway, and no one can run that fast to the end of the hallway. I can't sleep. I've slept about 12 hours last week. Every time I sleep, I hear walking, knocking, walking. I'm so paranoid. Can anyone help? Number 3. When we bought the townhouse 9 years ago, we called it Lucky Number 13 in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. It was a bargain. We found a beautiful black cat around the neighborhood and called her Mama Cat. One day, my mom was talking to one of my neighbors who shared a bit of history about the place. The first owner was a woman named Grace Stinson, who was savagely murdered in this townhouse. The realtor didn't disclose this information to us. Her murder is unresolved. I believe her story was aired on Unsolved Mysteries. I also found out that other people who leased or owned the property had problems. I'm not sure if they were paranormal, but they were all subjected to unfortunate events. I'm not sensitive to spirits, but my sister is. She felt Grace's presence, but also something menacing. We had the home blessed and cleansed it often. My relationship with my sister deteriorated while we both lived here. We both had mental health issues and substance abuse issues. I'm not sure if this home had anything to do with those problems. We are very opposite in our personalities. Is there anything else you can recommend for me to do to help this townhouse find peace? My sister just moved out, and now it's my turn to try to find some of happiness there. I don't have the financial support my sister does. I'm disabled and live on $1,000 a month income. I'm going to have it appraised when I get there. I feel like I should tell the realtor about the murder. Another problem is that my sister has caused a lot of damage to her third floor, which was all hers. It needs to be completely redone. So, this will also lower the value. I can go into many details, but I'm hoping to find a way to stay there. I still love it a lot. Thank you for reading this. I know it was a long post. Yes, I still get mail for Grace. Update. I didn't include this in my post because a picture was lost years ago on my sister's old computer. I tried to get her to ask a friend who bought her computer to get the picture off the computer's hard drive. I think that's where it was. Her friend had bought the computer for her, but then suddenly died. Anyhow, I wish I had it. I wouldn't have believed it myself of not looking at it when I first moved in. My sister took pictures of new curtains for the third floor windows. In that picture, a translucent woman was standing in front of her curtains looking out the window. We only see the back of her. My sister was sensitive to spirits, and she most likely occupied the third floor. Her bathroom was where Grace in the picture, a translucent woman, was standing in front of her curtains looking out the window. Her bathroom was where Grace Stinson was found. In the shower stall, plastic bag on her head and stabbed viciously. The picture thing sounds like rubbish, but it amazed me. I wish I still had that picture. Number 4. None of these stories come from me, but my other family. I'm going to start off with my dad's. There isn't much to this story, but when he lived at my grandma's house for a little bit, he claimed to hear footsteps upstairs sometimes. Same with my mom when she stayed there before. The next story comes from my grandpa. He told me about 11 years ago when he went up to bed before my grandma, he lay down on the bed and after a few minutes he felt someone get in bed with him. He said to my grandma, "You finally came up?" But no response. He said he was too scared to turn around. He claimed he also heard no breathing and felt nothing after. About 5 months ago, I was screwing around with the ghost app, some responses, and I left. My grandpa went to bed and the same thing happened to him. He thinks I awakened the spirit because keep in mind, last time that happened was 11 years ago. What do you guys think about this? It still feels uneasy in the house sometimes. That could just be me though. Number 5. I lived in the Midwest, North Dakota to be specific. My family lived on a farm, and the house had been moved there. I don't know how that worked back then. It makes some sense now because there was a door at the front of the house that would just drop off and had no stairs to it. Anyway, I have an older sister and a younger sister. They shared a bedroom, and it faced our garage, which was the one light at night. Mine was across the hall, but the doors always open so you could see just about anything going on. One night, it was so long ago I can't recall if I woke up or was just awake, but I seen the shadow of a young female on the wall of the hallway. I called both my sisters' names. I seen the shadow's head turn and it moved and then disappeared. I went into my sister's room and called her names again softly. Nobody moved, so I just went back to mine. I can't recall anything after that. It was the mid-80s. I was a kid, but I can still recall that shadow. Number 6. Before I start, I'd like to note that there has been some too few occurrences before in the past with something going on. I'm not sure what. So I had to give my cat Maggie up for adoption to get another pet, one that I could keep in my room because my stepfather was getting sick. and she would leave paw prints after she used her litter box on our table and counters, and it would happen often. After training her for about 3 years now, nothing worked. Toys, treats, and even water, sprays, but nothing. Anyways, when I had her, she would stare at random places for a little while and her ears would go back. I remember that sometimes. Her eyes would grow large as well. I was home alone this one day and my mom had gone out, but my stepdad was in the hospital. I had to give my cat a bath because she was covered in fleas. We had tried everything to get rid of them. Flea combs, flea medicine, flea protectant collars. Fleas had infested the majority of our house, especially my bedroom. That's when we had all three, me, my stepdad, and my mom decided to give her up for adoption and into a place where she could be treated because we couldn't afford it at the time. We had tried what I had previously mentioned, and it costed us a lot. Therefore, we couldn't afford another possible failing treatment. Sometimes at night, even today, I still hear noises and it sounds like thuds, bangs, and very rarely I'll hear someone call my name. The calling my name part is definitely not my favorite. I'm not encouraging the behavior I'm saying to this, but I'm a teenager and, as some of us, I let someone in my house. Me and him were making out, and we heard what sounded like a scratch on my wall or something being moved. We both looked at each other and laughed. Unfortunately, we aren't together anymore though. But back in about September, October of 2023, I was downstairs and I was sitting on the couch. At the time, my stepdad had a functioning electric wheelchair. He definitely thought he was big and strong, and he sure was. Anyways, he was in the hospital and his electric wheelchair was in the garage and the lights were off outside. The outside lights, the garage lights, and even the wheelchair lights. I'm not sure if all electric wheelchairs have lights on them, but they're definitely so fun to ride. My stepdad would let me on it sometimes. I heard a thud in the kitchen. It literally sounded like something banged or a loud ass noise. I'm watching TV and I looked to my right and saw absolutely nothing at all. The lights over the entertainment center and my mom, stepdad's bedroom light were the only lights on in the inside of my house. So that's how I saw into the kitchen, with just a little brightness shining, making the lighting very dim in the kitchen. I looked to my right and swear to you, bro, oh my fucking word, I saw the tallest thing ever, as tall as my glass screen door almost. I jumped. I didn't know who or what it was, so I went and got my mom, because at the time we didn't have cameras outside to see who or what it was. And guess what? The fucking lights were on the electric wheelchair. Just the backlights, which takes 2 hits to the button. And like I said earlier, no lights were on outside. I remember my heart stopped and the color from my face drained and my heart started racing. What do we do now?
I live inside my own world of make-believe. Kids screaming in the cradles, profanities. I see the world through ice covered in ink and bleach. Cross